Hey everybody, how is it going today? Well, I'm going to be doing another video about the merger between Tesaro Enterprises and HumblePay.com. I'm going to get into some of the recent news, and then I'm going to get into the charts and show you why I think this stock still has a long way to go. Now, if you're new to my channel, I like to find short and long-term trading and investing opportunities in typically lower-priced stocks. I like to find undervalued stocks with high growth potential and talk about all other things finance-related as well. If that's something that interests you, please consider subscribing so you don't miss any future trading or investing ideas. And we also have a Patreon page down there in the description. If you'd like to know what we are trading before we put it on YouTube, the link is down below. But please remember, I am not a financial advisor, so please do all of your own research before investing in any of these stocks. Now, in case you're not aware, Tesaro Enterprises Incorporated issued a statement reminding shareholders and investors that Humble will be hosting an investor call on December 9th, 2020 at 5 p.m. on a Zoom application. Prospective attendees must be registered for the call through the website. All registrations must have been received by 5 p.m. yesterday, December 7th. So unfortunately, I didn't see that and I missed that deadline. But if any of you are on that call, please let me know in the comments if there's anything that stands out in that conference call. I'm really curious to know what is going on during that call. But it says, during the call, attendees will be introduced to the Humble President CEO Brian Foote, who will discuss Humble's technologies, business model, and roadmap for the upcoming year. Humble's corporate advisor, George Sharp, will briefly discuss the merger with Tesaro Enterprises and the processes which remain to be executed. There will be no discussion regarding stock performance or structure, unfortunately. Now, this article is a couple of days old, but it says that TSNP still surges after a strong November. It also says a lot of strength will be shifted to Tesaro as Humble is one of the experienced and competent software and app developers for quick and simple transaction. It says perhaps Tesaro will change the format in running the business while Humble will share many of its tips and tricks. And it says most possibly totally different services and products will appear in Tesaro's revenue sources. And it says, no need to fear December, seeing it has proven possible for TSNP to rise as visionary investors expect a great change in price. It also says the $1 barrier seems very real to happen even before this historical merger. Now, this article is about a month old, and I wish I would have seen it back then, but I found this very interesting because the CEO is not going to lock up over $10 million worth of stock for no reason. And this article says, Tesaro Enterprises Incorporated announced today that the company's CEO and president, Brian Foote, has agreed to convert over 318 million shares recently purchased by him out of the retail market to a new class of preferred shares. The conversion will be transacted following the imminent completion of the merger between Tesaro and Humble LLC. It says, upon completion of the conversion, Tesaro's issued and outstanding number of common shares will have been reduced by over 860 million shares since Mr. Foote became the president of Tesaro. And it says the company does not anticipate that the number of common shares outstanding will increase during the remainder of 2020 or throughout 2021. Now, in another article that I found, it says that they retired over 551 million shares. It says in the article that Jeffrey Hinshaw announced that the company is retiring 551 million common shares that Tesaro President Brian Foote agreed to surrender without consideration. These shares were acquired by Mr. Foote from the previous Tesaro president for value received from Mr. Foote. These stock transactions will soon be represented in the reports filed with the United States Securities and Exchange Commission. It says, with the retirement of these shares, the number of Tesaro common shares issued and outstanding is reduced to 3.99 billion. That's a lot of shares. This should be reflected by the transfer agent on the company's OTC Markets profile page shortly. All right, well, let's get into the chart. This is the current daily chart of Tesaro Enterprises, ticker symbol TSNP. We can see that we are having a reversal day of sorts. It hasn't broken to a new low from the previous day, but this is a pullback, and it's not an alarming pullback. In my opinion, it's happening on below average volume. So this is very healthy, and I would expect it to not be done going up. You know, all the characteristics of this chart don't look like a climax top at all, so I'm guessing this still has a long ways to go. All of this accumulation that we saw back here has not been unwound yet, so chances are this thing is probably going to get at least one more giant move up. I'm guessing this thing is probably going to be over $1 before long. But it wouldn't surprise me one bit if this does consolidate to move slightly down until it gets into this 8-period exponential moving average, just like it did over here in the teens. But this doesn't look like a top at all to me. I could be wrong. This is just my opinion. But looking at charts all the time, this does not exhibit a stock that is done moving up. If we go to the intraday chart, let's just go to the minute chart real quick. Let me back it up. This was kind of alarming this first couple of minutes of the day because it sold off after this small gap up on huge volume, but then it was immediately bought right back up. Now it's sold off again just a couple hours after that, but it has slowly been grinding up. I am very curious to see how this ends the day. I think if this ends the day at the lows of the day, if you're thinking about buying, if this ends near the low, I would wait until the next day because chances are you're probably going to get some follow through at least in the first half hour of the next day. So if you haven't entered this stock and you want to enter it, I would wait to see how this one closes, because if this does close near the lows, you're going to get a chance to buy it at a better price the next day. If I go back to the daily chart, I would expect it to find support right around this 24 to 25 cent range. I think there's going to be buyers waiting for it there. Plus, you're going to have this moving average coming into it, so that should offer some support as well. But those are my current thoughts on this chart pattern. I think this is a super, super healthy, strong uptrend. Even though it wouldn't surprise me if it does pull back for a few days, I think when we look back on this chart a couple of weeks later, if we didn't buy at this level, we're probably going to be wishing that we did, because this thing has all the characteristics of a high flyer. So those are my thoughts on Tesaro Enterprises as of today. All right, guys, well, that's all I have for you today. If you have any questions or if you have any interesting comments on this stock, please leave it down there in the comments section, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Please hit that like button for me and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching my video all the way to the end, and until next time, take care, everybody.